Coming up on Mountain News this morning, an Eastern Kentucky Medical Center celebrates the opening of its latest expansion, and a hospital chain in our region celebrates a new addition and welcomes in some new employees in the process.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. It's just before 6 o'clock on this Friday morning. We have made it to the end of the work week. Well, if you're lucky enough, I have to work tomorrow, so you'll see me tomorrow if you're watching the weekends. Let's over to Brandon for a look at that forecast. Brandon, now, like you said, in some spots, you might need to take a light jacket with you. Now, this morning, I don't really think I needed a jacket. I mean, it was just cold enough, if that makes sense, to grab one.
Exactly, so. And that's it. That was my thought process as well. I actually had the boggin on because, you know, when you don't have much hair, you got to keep the heat from seeping out from your head. But yeah, again, if you're not cold-natured, you should be fine this morning. But if you just have just a little hint of cold nature in you, you're going to need that jacket as you head out the door. Let's take a look at Pikeville this morning. US 119, US 23 over that way. Pretty quiet. No major issues there in the overnight hours. That's been the same for everybody. Clear skies for the most part. No more 50s. We've dropped down to 49 in Jackson and Prestonsburg. Those are now our time for the warm spots in the region. 34 at Jonesville is our cool spot. Jonesville or Wise usually takes the cake there for a cool spot, sometimes Monticello too. So a normal day or a little extra depending on where you're at and the temperature in your area for coffee. 51 is the average high for this time of the year. 67 is the forecast high, but no records today. 79 was the record set back on this day in 1982 at the National Weather Service office in Jackson. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you so much. Several U.S. states are now reporting cases of the Omicron variant. WYMT Washington Bureau Chief Jacqueline Policastro tells us how the White House is monitoring the situation.
I spoke with Dr. Anthony Fauci as news of new cases broke. Here's what we know so far. It appears Omicron is highly transmissible. The new variant may have the ability to evade some of the protection from our vaccines. The surge of Omicron infections is spreading to about 24 countries around the globe. But there's still a lot we don't know.
Literally every hour, every day, we get more and more information. So we really need to reserve judgment as to what the impact will be in the United States.
I asked Fauci, should vaccinated people travel and gather with family for the holidays?
Be prudent, particularly when you're in congregate indoor settings, such as the setting of an airport, where there's a lot of people crowded together. Keep your mask on. When you're in the home setting with a family and your people are vaccinated and everyone you know what their status is, then you should feel very comfortable in having a really good holiday get-together with your family.
Fauci says the best way to protect children who can't get vaccinated is to surround them with adults who are vaccinated. And what about the travel ban?
I do not expect the travel ban to extend to other countries, but everything is always on the table depending upon how the situation rolls out.
Fauci told me there are several therapeutic drugs being developed and evaluated by the FDA right now. In the Washington News Bureau, I'm Jacqueline Policastro.
Kentucky passed 11,000 total deaths involving COVID Thursday. The state reported 2,841 new cases, bringing our statewide case total to 792,015. We had 40 new deaths as well, but in the Commonwealth above the 11,000 mark with 11,027 total deaths. The positivity rate continues to tick up, now sitting at 9.2%. And you can, of course, always find the latest COVID-19 information over on our website at WYMT.com. One Tennessee pharmacist is alerting other parents after her own child was given an adult-sized dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Melissa Schuster's 11-year-old son was supposed to get a second child's dose at a vaccine clinic in Nashville area Walgreens earlier this week. After a phone call about the mix-up with the adult vaccine, she took a closer look at her child's vaccine card to figure out where things were wrong and had gone wrong, and what was alarmed by what she found.
It has the same exact lot number for doses 1 and 2. If my child got the adult vaccine, the lot number is not going to be the same. So at this point, I don't know which COVID vaccine they got. I don't know if it was even a COVID vaccine, so it can be very dangerous.
She says thankfully her child has not had any bad reactions to the vaccine, and she understands accidents happen. However, she wants other parents to learn from the experience she had and asks a few more questions when their own child gets the shot. Drug treatment advocates and school officials in Kentucky are warning about the early signs of a dangerous and potentially deadly trend among teens. They say vape pen products are being laced with fentanyl. And 3 staff members at a Tennessee high school were exposed earlier this week, likely from a student's vape pen. Chad Hedrick has the story.
The use and risks of vape pens in teens has been an issue for several years now, but drug treatment officials say the risks are becoming more dangerous.
I was hoping we never had to have this conversation, but it's here, and you see it once, we're probably going to see it more.
Pat Fogarty is the Senior Vice President of Operations at Addiction Recovery Care. He says this week's incident at a Tennessee high school where a student's vape pen was likely the source of a fentanyl exposure is something we may very well see more of.
As this stuff is hard to control and it's measured on such a small amount that it's certainly impossible for people at the street level. So when we're talking vaporized fentanyl, I don't have any answers for that. This is new to all of us.
It's why ARC and school districts are sounding the alarm to get ahead of this trend. Wolfe County Schools made this post on their social media saying not only can vape pens be harmful to the lungs and highly addictive, they're becoming more common for illegal substances.
We're most concerned with vapes with a variety of synthetic cannabinoids that get into vapes that can be dangerous to anybody, including adolescents, as well as variants of methamphetamine.
Pat says studies show education about drugs should start as early as age 5.
It's so treacherous that you have to address it early, and it's just no game. I can't stress to you enough how dangerous this supply is in Kentucky right now.
That was Chad Hedrick reporting yesterday. State Representative Derek Lewis of London pre-filed a bill would include naloxone in the medications that Kentucky school employees must be trained to administer. He says he filed it after a school official told him about a student being exposed to a substance and becoming unresponsive on the bus, and they had to wait for an ambulance. Well, Voices of Hope, a drug addiction recovery center based in Lexington, is helping out neighboring Madison County prevent opioid overdose deaths with free Narcan boxes placed in 10 businesses throughout the county. Michael St. John's is a recovering addict who used meth and OxyContin for 14 years. Now recovery advocate St. John says Noxo boxes work and they need to be as prevalent as first aid kits. And at one point, St. John says he gave a friend Narcan because he was overdosing.
You can't put words on it, but to see him get another fresh breath of air and then go on to do something about his life. But listen, God gave us air for a reason. We got to do whatever we can do to help save somebody's life.
Yesterday, he visited inmates in the Madison County Detention Center to continue his work to fight drug addiction. He says 8 out of 10 inmates there are locked up due to drug-related offenses. Governor Andy Beshear visited Pikeville Medical Center yesterday for a ribbon cutting and a groundbreaking as officials celebrated several new projects at the hospital. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more on the announcements.
Gathering to celebrate growth.
Today is about hope.
Pikeville Medical Center opened the doors to its children's hospital Thursday.
It seems like it was just yesterday that we were looking at the plans, and here we are today opening.
Bringing to life a dream that was years in the making.
That's the dream of every parent and of every grandparent, that our kids and grandkids will never have to leave this state or the region they're from because every opportunity isn't available to them.
Creating a space to help children receive the care they need.
Many of them oftentimes have no voice to cry out. The heroes up front today are their advocates.
Governor Andy Beshear says it is an incredible sign of growth for the region.
Your largest employer continues to expand at a phenomenal rate. And it's a large part of what we're seeing all over this Commonwealth.
While celebrating the new space, officials also broke ground on another expansion.
We've all been touched. We've all been hurt by cancer. I remember being a 17-year-old boy and coming home and finding out that my dad was going to have some surgery. And he was either going to be okay or there was a chance that I'd go through college without him.
Adding 7,000 square feet of private suites and a new specialized pharmacy to the Leonard Lawson Cancer Center.
Expansion is necessary to provide more advanced cancer care and to save even more lives.
Digging in to battle cancer and better child care. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Hospital also announced the opening of a new store, Scrubs & More, which carries scrubs and supplies its staff and other healthcare workers and can now purchase right at home. Appalachian Regional Healthcare recently purchased Palby Hall Regional Medical Center in Johnson County. Now, after the purchase, ARH employees and officials came together to welcome their new employees and celebrate the new addition with a meet and greet across the street at the Ramada. Now, this addition is the 14th hospital in ARH's system, and officials say it is a wonderful opportunity for growth.
We're excited to be able to expand our services in what we call the Big Sandy region. So this extends our footprint that we've had in Floyd County now over into Johnson County, and we're also in Tug Valley. So we now have an integrated healthcare delivery system across the Big Sandy region.
Officials say they are excited to add the 250 new employees to the ARH family.
6:10 here on this Friday morning, and a happy Friday to you. TGIF, we're looking at some cold temperatures out there this morning in most spots, below 50 degrees everywhere, but close to it there at Jackson at 49. Prestonsburg down a degree to 48, time with Pikeville there, and on the other end of the spectrum, 34 in Jonesville. Everybody between that. 41 now Paducah, temperatures going up with some southwest winds. 40 Bowling Green, 45 Nashville, but still 32 in Cincinnati and 37 in the Tri-City. 67 this afternoon, sunny and mild, a very nice day. No record-breaking temperatures, but still above average for this time of the year. Looking good all the way into the weekend until Sunday, and then a cold front swings through, and it's going to be a big time when it's going to change a lot of things, including taking those temperatures way down real quick. I'll get those words out in just a second. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. The time is 6:11. More news is on the way. When we come back, former nurse in Arizona is sentenced to a decade behind bars after abusing a patient.